Welcome to Smoke Room. I'll get past this part so I can talk. Some idiot is playing Rivali on the trumpet. Last night wasn't the worst night of sleep that I've had, but I can feel that my body had only just found a way to be cozy, and it was cut short. And for what? For nothing. By a brassy bugle that sounded more like it was being blown between a man's ass cheeks and his mouth. Okay, so, now that that's over, I have some things to say. At least I thought okay, yeah, sorry, this fucking thing, like, it lagged for. I had to try to start this video 3 times because my computer was being a bitch. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we only have maybe 2 hours of Nick's route left before we move on to another one. Because I'm pretty sure they haven't updated it since that update, and, yeah. So, we're getting close to, when I can do Cliffs, because that's what I'm doing next. Anyway, but maybe somebody else besides me got fed up and shut it up there. Get my eyes shut wanting to catch more sleep, but sheets are rustling all around me, and the voices around me are getting rowdy. Think I fade into sleep for a while before I feel something big and heavy in my arm shaking me. God. Looking lower in this shit because I don't. I look to see a massive pair of big brown eyes staring at me, making me flinch. You'll have about 5 minutes, Nate. You need to get there before you need to get ready. Ready? He shook his head. Yo, and now you're leaving home. The oats in the brown bowl and the cup of the sink of mine. Make sure that you eat. Sorry, I'll be gone. Pressure behind my ears is building up and my head is throbbing. Eventually I managed to roll out of it. Nick surprised to make some notes. Water from the hot kettle left on the stove, but I feel guilty eating this food. Oh boy, your first day in the mine, Sam. Okay, I also had this thought that I forgot to mention somehow. It hasn't really, I haven't done it in my series yet, but the reason that Chase knew how to get out of the mines in that one section, well, not really wasn't Chase, but whatever. You'll find out when I do that part. But it wasn't it. The reason he got out of the mines in Leo's route was because Sam memorized the mines. Basically, is my thought was. I'll buy some more for him later. Funny feeling comes over me when I walk this road alone with strangers. Old memories fill my head. Before I had Nick to make sure I didn't push myself too hard in the dry heat, or Will to shake my head and smile at me when I did something foolish. I remember nearly crippling myself by letting a minecart slide backward during a coal haul like it was today. I remember what one of my coworkers said. God must want me dead to put me with a man as slow as you. Well, maybe he was right. I ain't ever saw him again after that, but I didn't need to hear that to know I didn't belong here. Here I was, at the mouth of the mine, feeling the wind against me as I followed half a dozen men into the dark. They told me that I should stand in the elevator room. It was easy enough to find. I couldn't forget that room if I tried. A few other men are standing around, expectant. I don't recognize any of them. Top of the morning, man? Oh boy, is this a Scottish person? Psst, the voice I heard wasn't what I expected. It was sunny and boyish, but you could almost call it manic, too. Very excitable-looking golden retriever approaches us. Welcome to the CSCG family. My name's Ben. You think of me as your guide today for all you newcomers. He flashes all a smile and tips his cap. Brief though it may be. Now I've heard him speak, I recognize him as the dog from the stack, arguing with the bear. Looks a lot different when he's snarling. Most of y'all are dedicated to the first floor, so if that was mentioned in the brief, I'll ask you to check in with the foreman on this level. Jerks his head to the building behind us, and all the men but me waddle in that direction. Yes, Sam Mayes, fella. He looks and sounds a bit too familiar to be calling me a fella. Reckon so. Grabs me on the shoulder and squeezes. And it looks like you with me, you son of a bitch. Way too familiar. Yes, me? Out of the new batch yet, but don't worry, there's always more. He hops onto the elevator and swings beneath my feet. Oh, come on. Both of us at the same time? Damn straight, she's rocky, but she's steady. Good grief. Oh god, I don't like elevators at the best of times, but Jesus, this is even worse. Try not to look into the wide chasm below as I close the gap between the platform we're standing on and the free swinging elevator. Where's your stuff? Stuff? He got his in with a sharp whine. Your tools or your lunch? Didn't bring none. Dog with a loud whistle that echoes below us far longer than I might have liked it to. Hope you had your hooch and hotcakes this morning because this bitch goes deep. And flips the switch and chain sounds the elevator ring out as we had to descend. You got a 30-minute lunch break at noon, but takes too damn long to make your way in and out of this level. So you better learn to prepare for this day forward. I promise you'll be sorry. You'll have nobody to blame but yourself if you go hungry. He looks at me as if he expects me to respond to that, but it's true, so I have nothing to add. Where you from? Been local for a while now. And before that? East Coast. You're not much of a talker or something? I don't know if there's anything wrong with my answers. Oh, really? No. That's a shame, then. You gotta have friends in this kind of work. Probably true. Awful hard to make friends who don't talk so much and talk so well. Alright. Well, at least just speaking my language. Oh, it clicks his tongue, giving me a wink. More than I can say for most around here. I think you'll do just fine. Thanks. But I remember asking. Psst. Oh, God. That's actually kind of cool that they actually did that with the, with the backgrounds. That's cool. We keep going deeper, keep going low until I feel my ear pop. Then the elevator comes to a stop. What level is this? 3rd. That didn't seem right. But why is it so deep? Well, why shouldn't it be? Ain't most tunnels just stacked right on top of each other? Says who? Says nobody. Just thought that's how it's supposed to be. Well, ain't everything's gonna be how you expect. He smiles at me. I wouldn't worry about it. But I think you should worry about the foreman's first impression of you. I dropped the back talk. I don't mean no rudeness. God. Ah yes, total back talk. Asking a genuine fucking question. Jesus Christ, what is this bullshit? Try to breathe deep, but the air feels thin down here. Just curious is all. Try not to be too curious. There's all sorts of funny smells and sounds down here that can get you hurt or worse. Don't know what you're doing. Taps me on the arm and flicks his head in a way that's a little more familiar than I'd like. Let's introduce you to the boss. I notice the tunnel's on the 3rd level, if this really is the 3rd level. I already have much shorter ceilings than the top floor. It's lucky that my head barely doesn't touch the top of the ceiling. But for Nick, it must be a problem. We can barely see the first man that we come across as he hauls a creaky cart by us and squeak against the walls tight. Squeeze against the walls tight to let him through. He stops when he comes to a cage behind us. My fur prickles when I hear it rattle and squeal from the top of the vertical shaft, scraping as it descends rapidly. I can hear a softer hum drone in the distance. So make a few turns, we emerge from the cramped tunnels into a bigger chasm with a high ceiling that may be some 60, some 80 feet tall. The noise here is a lot. A large spinning wheel at least 3 times my height creaks when it moves. You can see that it connects to a system moving belts, and that those connect to a compressor that's humming and vibrating. That in turn connects to a bunch of pipes and hoses can be followed parallel to a set of tracks, and they lead to more sounds of drilling, hammering, picking, and scraping. The tune is attached to a large mechanical drill sitting on a platform connected to the track. Hard to tell who's manning in the dim light. Well, well, well. Welly, well. Hello. It's Amore. That's fucking... Okay, so that's interesting. We're actually getting, like, an ancestor for Flynn. Now, I really like that, because I just, Flynn. Flynn's my favorite. When I get closer look, it's a sturdy-looking Gila monster. When he notices us, he takes a look for a second, then redirects his attention to the rock. Seems like he's either really concentrating on this particular job, or he's ignoring us. Stand in place so long, waiting for my guide to say something, that I have to shift my weight. Good morning, we're reporting in for today's work, Mr. Moore. Oh boy. I'm fucking really happy that there's a fucking ancestor for Flynn now, because I was wondering. Because, like, in like, one of the routes, I remember they mentioned that the Hendricks and the Moores were, like, the most influential people in Echo back in the day. So, like, that's definitely an interesting thing. He flips off the switch of the machine and takes a look at us. Beckett's fun. His voice sounds surly and gruff. Wow. Runs in the family, I guess. This isn't the military, Keys. What do you need? Briggs asked me to bring our new man to you. Despite how dark it is, I can tell the lizard is looking at me slowly from top to bottom. He's not prepared for work. No bag, no hammer, no pick, nothing. I doubt even his matches. I know that I'm not planning to stay here, but this man is doing a good job making me feel embarrassed. What the hell is this, Keys? Everybody knows you're supposed to supply their own materials. Lizard's tone is getting more and more curt with me. I apologize for the inconvenience, sir, but Mr. Hendricks told me that he'd supply those things for me. Let's suppose for a second that's true. When? I'm a little surprised by that question. Though in fairness, I probably shouldn't be. It's a pretty fair question. Well, he never told me when I'd be getting those things. In all frankness, I'd hope we're running down here. You some kind of joker. This is level 3. Hendricks never comes down here. He's not somebody who likes to get his press certs dirty if he'd catch my grift. And I suppose that's a bit of a problem for me. That's putting it lightly. If you can't work, we can't get things done. And if you can't work, you don't get paid. Nothing personal, but this is a job. Level 3 might not be the best place for a novice anyhow. They'll take rookies and experts alike if they can work, Keys. We're undermanned. Maybe he didn't know any better, but you saw him without any equipment. Then he shouldn't be down here. You usually know better than that. Wait, don't blame me for the new fella's mistakes. His fault, not mine. Beckett grunts. If I had to blame anybody, it's probably Hendricks. But all of these setbacks have put us a week behind schedules, and Briggs is pissed. We haven't made much progress on expanding the main shaft or digging deeper, and the exposed veins will be picked dry before long. I'd feel the same way if I were in his shoes. Let's just do our best to put things right. Understood? Of course, sir, understood. That sucked. The healer turns away from us and flips the switch to his machine. I brace myself for the loud chiseling sound again, but all I hear is the click of the switch back and forth. The healer curses under his breath. Something's wrong with the damn pick again. Circles the machine. The compressor hose is secure and there's nothing to align with the hardware. Must be a problem with the compressor itself. Did Kai say he was having any problems with it today? Well, Kai wasn't there. He was supposed to be. That's his assignment today. And he missed it. So who the hell was there, Keys? I didn't see anybody. You're supposed to report that, damn it. If there's something wrong with the compressor, then it could be the power, and that could affect the vents. I just wasn't thinking about that right now. Jesus Christ, this is dangerous. I'm not to blame for any of this. I don't give a ghost of a shit about who is to blame. I just need you with me, Keys. Breakdowns like this can cause a lot of problems if we're not on top of them. Where the hell is your head today? Is there a problem? Just like that, my whole body feels a lot lighter when I hear Nick's voice. Perfect fucking time. Could be. I need you to check on some things. I heard you that this one lacks equipment. He nodded to me. Now you have tools to spare. That would be helpful, Mr. Kroll. Show this man the ropes. He's on extraction duty with you for today. Unless Mr. Keys has some need of him. I don't. Then that's one problem solved. Help me investigate the compressor and wherever Mr. Kai might have went. Of course. God, that voice is actually hard to do. My fucking... That is a hard voice to do, Jesus. Two of them are gone without so much as giving me a second look. Well, that went as poorly as first impressions could go. They stole it all. I want to tell Nick that it feels like this foreman knows I shouldn't be here. But Nick gives me a look that says there are people everywhere listening. It's unfortunate that the pneumatic rock pick isn't working right now. It's a beautiful piece of technology. But if there are problems with it, the foreman will just have to use his pick and hammer for a while like the rest of us. So what do the rest of us do exactly? Nick grunts. In some ways you are lucky that progress has been slow. Extracting ore is not difficult. You will have no problems while you are with me for today. But it is hard work, so you are going to sweat. I can handle that. For what I consider mentioning how that's never bothered him before, but I don't think he would much appreciate if I said something like that here. But I can't stand the idea of getting grimy for hours on end without grooming myself throughout the day. It's only a week, though. I think I could put up with anything for only a week. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Sam. Further we go from Beckett's side, the harder it is to see the heavy machinery and the torches. The light next to the lamp is the only guide we have at the moment. How did any of you manage to see down here? Badger taps his cap. I do just fine with this. Before I could afford the lamp. Candles mostly. That's a little bit strange to me. Strange? How? I've never seen you how you had before you when you work. I just assume you always had. Carbide lamps are expensive, my friend. And so is the gas. Still, it's hard for me to picture you without it for very long. That I can agree with. It gives me comfort. Careful. He laces his big arm across my chest. His headlight shines on a pile of rocks scattered messily on the dirt floor, on the end of the mine track where a wide cart sits. I can hear grunts, the shuffling of bodies and rocks shattering all around me, but I can barely see anything in front of me. Let's find a spot that isn't so crowded. I want to tell him I don't mind because I can't see anybody, but I don't think I should second guess him. Here's a nice spot. Come. There's a big outcropping of rocks beside a wooden scaffold. Looks like a gray, formless mass until Nick shines his light on the piece, which is streaks that sparkle like the stars in the sky. If you've not seen one before, this is what a silver vein looks like. Vein's kind of a strange choice for a name, ain't it? No, it's not. Strange how? It's just the word is all. Makes me think about blood, not metal stuck in rocks. And blood pumps. It's always moving. If you find some, it means it's alive. Oh God, thanks, Sam. Thank you, Sam. I didn't need that image in my head, thank you very much, but I guess my imagination hates me. So basically, blood, it's like blood pumps. If you find it, it's alive. I don't like the implication there. I don't like the implication. It is interesting me how often when we talk you make me think about your language. Did I say something dumb? No, you didn't. I hope that's not a bad thing. Not at all. But vein is a very good word for this occurrence as a concept. Blood does flow through veins. Water flows through the cracks in the earth, carrying mineral sediments with it. Over time, these minerals crystallize, filling the cracks, leaving compounds between the ores. As we dig deeper, we only fall in what the water once was. If you do not want to call these deposits veins, then you could simply say we are following the seepage. And actually, geology is really fucking crazy when you think about it in terms of, like, practical, like, what it's doing and all that. I don't like that at all, actually. In fact, I hate that. He stares at me. Seepage, Samuel. What are you two talking about? Flinch because I can hear Yao's voice before I see him. He's so quiet when he walks. Just in time. They was going to show Sam the ore extraction techniques. Let me help you. Those can get dangerous. You could just jump into it. I don't mind a demonstration before trying. Sure. The tools you should have on hand are a pickaxe, a sledgehammer, a spike, matches, and sticks of dynamite. Picks are for the softer rock and packed gravel. The rest is what is lodging and breaking apart big deposits. I can barely see Al crouch down and wrestle with the bag. His bag in her next light, holding a long, thick steel spike in his paw. I hold this swirl and it embeds it into the rock with one good strong swing. If I don't keep still, he could miss and crush my fingers. Excuse me? Nick has to sledgehammer back, squeezes the handle, shifts his weight into his swing, pausing there just a bit. No! And then he brings it down. I look away and hear a horrible crunching noise. Think about that Sable's hand, wonder if this is the way he lost it. We can stop looking the way now. The spike is in. I open my eyes. It's a large spike lifted several inches deep into the wall. Why would you let him do that? Because he never misses. You can thank my heart. The light beam helps me focus, and the weight of it is just right. I'm not thanking your head. It is just an expression, Samuel. You say that, but I know that you really love that hat. Still, you made it look so easy. That can't be safe. You think this is our first time doing this? The head of the spike is light enough that the hammer should never come in contact with your fingers if you grab the center. Once the spike is in, all we have to do is place the dynamite in the cracks, stand back, and let the walls crumble. So nobody ever gets hurt doing this? I wouldn't say that. We didn't say that, but the two of us have worked together long enough to coordinate our actions. There are always ways to top it in too, but it takes much longer. With more swings, you had more chances to make mistakes. Beckett told me stories about driving steel into rock before. It always sounded exhausting, but I didn't understand how risky it was. If he hurt his or Yao's paw, they'd be out of a job. Nick does this nearly every day from dawn to dusk for less than even what I make. I want you to hold this spike now, Sam. What? I know what I heard, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Why? His expression turned stern. So you know what to do if somebody tells you to do this when you aren't here. I don't want to hold it. I understand. He leans in close to me and whispers. I do not want you to either, but I cannot always be here. It will look suspicious if we're always together. They will eventually force us apart. Honestly, I won't prepare you for anything. He pulls the spike out of the rock and places it in my paw. The spike feels warmer than I thought it would be, and Nick's paw lingers there, squeezing mine shut. Then he guides it to the surface of the rock. Remember, grip the center and hold it still. I nod, squeezing the spike harder than I mean to. On 3. He takes a step back. 1. He hefts the hammer onto his shoulder. 2. He lifts it. I stare up at it. Up at him. The blunt head of the hammer rises above me. It suddenly occurs to me that if Nick wants revenge, what I did to his former co-worker, this would be the easiest way to do it. After all, these sorts of accidents happen all the time. No matter how hard I try, it's impossible to block out this place's dark, damp, earthy smell. And Jack's smell. The sharp tang from the iron in his blood, and the acrid smell of the shit from his guts filling his pants. 3! I feel the rush of wind and hear the crunch. The spike is embedded in the rock again and I can let it go. I feel a slight tingle in my hands from the force of the blow, but that's all really. My heart is thumping in my throat. Good, you let go. You never want to hold onto the spike once it is lodged this far in. He hammered the spike out to its head in the rock and pulled the spike out. And now for the fun part. He cupped his mouth with his hands and bellowed out behind him. Blast! We hear the shuffling of feet and the rumble of voices some distance away from us, moving further away still. When I say go, we go. He crouches and rushes with the pack on the floor, then puts the bag on his back, retrieving a thin black capsule with a fuse clasped in his left hand. Then he holds the fuse to his lamplight. Wait for the hiss. The fizzy sound of the sparks are unmistakable. Now you place the dynamite in the hollow spike hole and you run. He seems unsurprised to see that Yao and I are at a considerable distance away from him as we break into a run to catch up. Yao pulls me up by the sleeve and around a barrier of rocks and scaffolding, and tells me to duck and cover my ears. The blast is louder than any gun should have ever heard. I can feel the weight from the explosion briefly in my knees connecting to the ground. We can hear the rocks tumble over one another, and it continues for several minutes as the shattered vein crumbles and collapses, spilling out its sparkling clusters. So now what? Now we pick the small pieces and put them in the cart. And we crush the larger pieces with the hammer until they are fit to transport. Feels like we spend hours crushing and hauling rocks, loading them onto the mine cart, pushing the cart to a cage for transportation, and loading the rocks. About halfway through the pile, the foreman comes and drags Yao off somewhere for something else. So the rest of the work goes even slower. I feel pretty uncomfortable by the time we clear the pile. My fur is slick with sweat, and there's a thin film of dust and debris on top of that. There's a stiffness in each clump of fur when I move. I desperately need to wash up. Nick, I'm starting to think rolling the spark wasn't so bad. Though, his work is nasty. I've been this dirty for only a few hours since I worked in my cousin's slaughterhouse. Is that so? You should expect for there to be a lot of dirt when you work beneath the ground. I don't mind it when it's all around me. It's different so when it's up on me, sliding against me in places it probably shouldn't be. Well, we can keep up in the lunch if so blows. But still, they would not bother. You would get dirty in the afternoon anyway. Oof! I see most of Nick's upper body lurch forward as he looks ahead, eyes widening with surprise. Then he lurches forward, nearly skipping to keep himself from toppling over. I have my hand in front of a mongoose who's yelling in a language I don't understand, to keep him from pushing Nick again. Then he starts pushing me. Hey, what's his problem? I don't know. I can't understand what he's saying either. But I can probably guess. Your friend takes up most of the tunnel. Look at the walls again. They're definitely exaggerating. You can pass us by. Badger steps by, pushing his back hard against the wall to give the mongoose and the blue jay room to run by. The mongoose does. The blue jay doesn't. Rick sounds a lot more quiet than usual. His face is impossible to read. Bailey. I don't know what this asshole's problem is. He's definitely wasting our time. You gonna walk past or what? We got things to do. Everybody down here has things to do. Might be a hell of a lot easier if your foreign friend ate less. Your mouth moves an awful lot for a party of one. And for somebody skinnier than most depictions of Christ on the crucifix, blessed be his name, you're slow or something. Please not cause trouble on your first day, Sam. Since when did I cause trouble? Blue Jay walks past us after all. Man, what's this? Oh my fucking god. Blue Jay snatches Nick's hat and looks at it, hopping several steps backward. This looks like a fire hazard. I think Foreman Moore should look at this. Nikolai has the Blue Jay against the wall again. He's grabbed with both arms, gripping tight, squeezing. Then he takes his hat back. You will not touch that. He grabs both the Blue Jay's shoulders and slams them back against the wall. Not now. He slams again. Not later. He slams again. Not ever. He places his hat back on his head and the Blue Jay stumbles forward. Didn't notice until now, but Nick is actually heaving. Blue Jay's a dazed sort of look, like he's confused to be where he is right now. Then he shook his head like he was lost. There's something going on over here. Golden Retriever stand behind us, walking up to the scene. Is something the matter tonight? Blue Jay just shakes his head and spits on the floor, turning to leave. He looks from Nick and then to me, and the expression sours. Oh, you again? What about me again? Now, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't think we're off to a great start. Come again? Do you remember what your boss said? We do the work, we get paid. If everybody can't figure out how to get along, we won't get anything done. Now I see two of our good workers at our throats this early in the week. Are you an instigator, Mr. Eyes? Who the fuck? I've heard this voice before. From the prior night. Oh, it's you. It's Dimitri. It was the bear from the stag, the one Nick and Yao knew. Move along. Move along, the mate's 3. This doesn't concern you. And management certainly doesn't concern you. You're still not the boss. Wait, he isn't? For some reason, somebody's under foreman. That's really weird. I don't have to be a manager to care about the state of the man's morale. But in a very real capacity, you are not qualified to be. Am I wrong, Keys? I have seniority over this man. Oh my god, you pulled the I'm older than you card. Jesus Christ. Well, not really older, but like experience and whatnot, yeah. I have seniority and experience over you. Doesn't really mean a thing now, does it? Well, maybe it should. Now, I have to say there's a difference between having seniority as a grunt for 2 years versus having it for 10. I'm happy where I am. We'll have to chat about how happy you are with your life in 8 years. I have a hunch you won't be in contact by then. You're still young. I wouldn't trust too many of your hunches. Like, for instance, that fist you threw last night with your thumb beneath your knuckles. And smacks the side of the mining cart. Not here, not today. Let's have a clean day today. I want order on the 3rd floor. Then control yourself and lead by example. After all, Dimitri, that's all you can do. Ben shuffles, he walks away in a moody swagger. You fellas alright? Of course. Well, I am anyway. But Nick, can't really say. Staring at the ground, his arms are folded. I had never really seen him that intense before. At least not in that way. I've seen him emotional in private before, and he's told me he's been in fights before, but I've never seen him grab a guy. Although I guess he's grabbed me before plenty. But it wasn't like that. Something about that scared me. Hope he's alright. Guess I should be careful touching his hand myself. I need a moment to gather my thoughts. A ghostly iron whistle blows through the tunnels. Just take care to bring them to the mess area. You don't want to skip out on the best part of the day. You'd think that would be going home. That's at night. Oh, that's true. I guess. Bear's oldest sister rolls out and bursts into laughter at his own joke. It's the kind of laugh that reminds you of embers crackling on an autumn campfire. I think you get what's important, but it doesn't sit right when somebody tells me you shouldn't find a way to be comfortable on a honest day's work. Trust me, when you get to be a certain age, it's good to have something other that keeps you busy. I never had much trouble staying busy. Neither did I. Until later. He sends us a casual salute and wanders off down the tunnel. Now you've held us up long enough. We should go. I wouldn't be too concerned about me. I didn't pack anything to eat. Why would that make me less concerned? You must eat some. I've skipped lunch plenty of times before. More recently than before, to be honest. Some cornbread, collards, and pork would be nice right about now. We will ask some of the men to share. Or barter if we must. The mess hall, which is more of a dimly lit cavern with stools scattered about it than a hall, has a row of iron lockers against the beam and earth walls. Nick walks up to a locker, twists the knob in a combination lock, and stores his tool inside while withdrawing a tin pail with a handle. There's a very small, very yellow duck discreetly painted on one side. I don't think I realized this before. Realized what? A shrug. You know, how much you like ducks. There is nothing foul about a bathing water fowl. I stop walking. Excuse me? That was the first sentence I learned in this country's language. Oh. I think that makes more sense. Makes more sense than what? The sentence being sentimental more than, I guess, really liking ducks. What do you mean? I do like ducks, Samuel. Sounds completely serious right now. Everybody likes ducks. It's like it's a fact rather than an opinion. I'm not sure whether I should laugh with the exception that he'll join in too, or not without cracking a smile. Go with the nod. I breathe with my mouth and pretend to sneeze. To ask, but I'm trying not to laugh. Bless you. Thanks. Look at his dark. Good noon to both of you. Even the dim light, it's hard to miss Yao's brilliant fur pattern. He's sitting on the bed and slicing a piece of cured meat into thick brown bread that's placed on top of his lunch pail. Tilt my head looking for another small painting of a duck. Then I feel stupid when I don't find one. Are you alright? He's hungry. He's hungry. I don't think he know that he had to pack his own lunch. I frown. I don't like this notion of the cat. That it's a regular habit of mine to leer at somebody else's lunch that like I'm a lunatic when I forget to prepare a meal. But it sounds less crazy than the truth. That I was looking for a duck. No shit, bud. No shit, bud. Here. Tiger holds up a slice of bread and meat to me. Thanks, but don't feel pressure to offer me anything. I always pack more than I need. Why? Because this isn't the first time somebody has forgotten their lunch. Or had theirs stolen. When you're hungry and hundreds of feet beneath the ground, you might agree to more, and you normally would when you're out of options. That's why we have to be ready to feed those who need it. Or barter with those who don't. I ate the bread and the meat. Yao handed me, which is very good, but very salty. Nick offers two hefty slices of kielbasa. Oh my god. Yeah, he's Russian. That's... Tried to refuse, but just not let me. We eat, filling one another in about the events that we miss. Yao told us about how he had to replace one of the bands running the compressor so they could get the rock drill running again. Nick mentions the fight, except he doesn't mention what happened with his hat. I don't know why this bothers as much as it does, but it might not be my business to know. Sit here and I wonder what happened if I brought it up. Sam Ayers. The rumble of all the men's voices around me dampens with the foreman's booming voice, and I see a few heads turn in source of the direction. I flinch under the foreman said my name and scramble to my feet. Yes, sir? Can't see much, but I can see a pair of glowing reptilian eyes staring at me from behind the clearing crowd of cramped bodies. Come speak with me, Nick whispers to me. It'll be fine, son. I want to believe that he's beaming a big warm smile on me as he says this, but the truth is I can't even see his face clear enough to it anymore in the low light. The noise from the men starts up again as I move through the crowd. I can see the silhouette of the lizard jerking his head and he wanders into a tunnel. It's pretty apparent from the motion of his tail I'm supposed to follow. It takes me to a cage where there's a rather large crate sitting adjacent to the entrance. It's already been opened by a crowbar. What's this? Easy enough. Starts pulling items out of the crate. Brand new pickaxe. And a hammer, several spikes, a case full of dynamite, some rope, and a card. A card, sir? And folds a very nice piece of cardboard and clears his throat. From one explorer to another. I hope you find what you're looking for, Samuel Ayers. Signed, James Hendricks III. So it did come today. Beckett Moore has nodded at me. So it did. This, magnanimity, shall we call it, doesn't tend to happen around here. He lowered his voice. If any of my boys saw you get a complete set of sparkling new tools, you'd have made a bitter enemy out of every one of them. Now, I don't know if Hendrix loves you or hates you, because this is a pretty mixed message, if I ever saw one. You honestly don't look like you're cut from the same cloth as most men now here. Save me the trouble and tell me your relationships to Hendrix. If you're one of his dandy friends and this is some sort of bet to impress one another, I promise I don't care a whit, and I'll let you tend to your pride. But this is a dangerous area. It's about to get a lot more dangerous. I don't know what to say. I feel that I'm about to sputter. Sir, I don't know this Mr. Hendrix well at all, really. He just took a sudden shine to me. He's the reason I have a job here at all. I swear it. Beckett stares me down and nods. If you're lying, it's a wild one. I believe you. Because you're a damn fool if you're down here for any other reason than you're a hard worker and you know how to exercise a considerable amount of care and an active shaft expansion. Let's get you set up with a locker. I'll store the extra tools so it'll look like you got them all at once. Then we'll pull you into action and we'll see what we can do. Is this all agreeable to you? Yes, sir. That's what I like to hear. I'll carry after equipment. Follow me for a while. Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. So, from that section, you obviously know that for a fact this is James Hendrix III, so it's not the same James Hendrix as the one in Carl's route. Also, the reason James has taken a shine to Sam, as he put it, is because he finds him attractive, wants to fuck him. So, Beckett's kind of right there. In terms of, the dandy part, but Sam doesn't know that. Because, that used to be a way they referred to gay people back in the day. I don't fucking know why. It's a weird way to say that, but okay. He locks me to a small lean-to, disappears into it, and then reappears with a small slip of paper. This is your locker combination. If you can't remember it, don't lose it. Oh boy. Interesting. So, I don't know if I'm gonna have to memorize this, but I don't fucking trust myself. So, I'm fucking doing shit that I'm actually going to probably not have to do. But whatever. You can store what you aren't using for now, but you're gonna need most of it. He goes back to the mess hall and rings the big metal triangle. Alright, listen on up, men. Team Red, I want you to keep extracting veins. Team Blue, I want you to work on the floor today. The smelters need extra hands. Team Yellow, and that's most of you, you can follow me east. He taps me on the arm with the back of his wrist. That's you. I nod and hoist my things as a large crowd of men walks toward and past me. Look around for Yao and Nick, waiting to see if they're coming, but they're lost in the large crowd. You coming, Ayers? Still can't see them. Yeah. We walk for about 10 minutes until we come to the mouth of a tunnel that empties into an abrupt end. Bump into something hard and cold and hear frantic flapping. Sounds like a little bird. With the rock chisel back in action, we're gonna make a long expansion to the eastward tunnel. We still aren't drilling any vertical expansions. There's an edge in the tone of his voice. As much as I like to don't let the second guess you, Beckett. Ben might have a point there. There's been an unusual amount of hazardous gases and water leaks at this depth. It's not the worst idea to try a different depth, I don't think. The assayer told us there's an usually small... Jesus. The assayer told us that there's an unusually small amount recovered here from the expected concentrations in the water. So we're gonna keep digging. We got unlucky with an aquaclude once, but with the water table so low on these parts, we don't have to fear more flooding. Unless there's more aquacludes at this depth. Or some stupid fucker drills diagonal and straight into Emma, but I think we'd notice that. A lot of the men laugh. A few of them just look confused and whisper in more language I don't understand. At least I'm not the only one who feels a little lost. Nate can help with the detonations. Am I, sir? Wizard pulled up his hat and scratched under his head. Make sure the drill core isn't damaged and assist Nate with the explosives. Doug shifts the weight of his feet a little, expecting something else, but then he nods quickly. Sir, yes, sir. To make sure you gather the rest of the men to extend the rails. Easily done. We're all told to wait outside the tunnel. Another blast goes off. We duck and cover for 3 explosions, hauling the shattered bedrock out in small pieces. I noticed the rabbit from last night speak up. His Sonoran accent is a little thick, but that might be exacerbated due to the muffling from his handkerchief. I'll go fetch the wood. Course you're fetching the wood. That stout Wolverine is here too. Because you know it would take me longer to fetch the spikes. Your best it's at. I don't fucking know how to do a voice for him, but whatever. The best? You always know just what to say. 2 of them went off. Are those 2 alright? Those 2? Better than. That's the dynamic. They like to give each other shit. I couldn't tell if it was tense or not. You won't have that delusion for long. You'll know when Paul is angry. Like last night. So you do still remember us, that's good. Hard to forget after what happened. Ben will have the hardest time forgetting, I imagine. They tossed him out of the stag for at least a week. His brood beneath the fur. But at least the poor boy's not limping. It's usually not so pretty after somebody tries to take on Paul. Though looking at your muscles, you might stand a chance. I'd rather not get anybody's bad side. And you won't, so long as you don't do anything dumb or dangerous. That doesn't cover me much. Or rig us into overtime without demanding extra pay from the bosses. Bros had a dark chuckle. I don't think we're going to see Ben try and pull that off again anytime soon. Bare hands are next to shovel. We're going to dig it straight through, about 4 inches deep, so nothing too complicated. Simple's fine for me. So let's chat to pass the time while we work. What's your story? Putting my shovel deep in the ground. Ain't got much of one. Everybody has a story. Who says you get to read mine? You first, then. Well, unlike our friend Ben, I actually was a soldier. For, Ruthenia, right? No, not for the Rus people. For this country, I immigrated when I was very young. So how come you aren't there now? After getting more than my share of violence, I decided I wanted to build more than I wanted to fight. And their engineering skills believed I was better on the battlefield than with the wrench. Of course, I don't take their advice to heart. So when my time was up, I finished for good and I've been here since. Must have been a boring change of pace comparatively. You'll come to appreciate boring after seeing the things I've seen. Starts to whistle. Though there are far more boring places to be than the bottom of a mine. This won't bore you with his war stories. Jackrabbit and the Wolverine were back, carrying a sack respectively. No? Good, because he's a beast. Downright demon. Don't let his doleful eyes lure you into a false sense of security. If you're going to talk about my eyes, you could use any other word than doleful. Wolverine sets a big sack of metal tracks on the floor. Mark my words, you watch yourself if you cross this old soldier. He knows death better than any of us. You end up between his paws and he'll shred your hide like it was warm butter. Please do not mind Paul. I don't know what voice to give. He likes to lie on purpose, as opposed to lying on accident. And there's the lie itself. The Jackrabbit rolled his eyes. Alright, it's time to get back to work, boys. We can pack the earth down and place planks 2 boards apart. You can measure the gaps with a ruler if you want, but this saves a lot of time and it's just as effective. Dimitri shows him how to put the rails together. Each iron piece is designed to lock, and spikes driven through the holes in the metal to bolt them down to the earth. By the time we have 20 feet of rail, I'm surprised that several hours have rolled by. I'm surprised by how long this takes. He chuckles. It will take longer if it's wrong, we have to redo it. Crouch down, hinging my knees and wipe the sweat from my brow. As dark and dirty and dangerous everything has been today, the experience has been, well, relatively normal. As far as I can tell, Nick and Yao keep one another safe. Maybe you're fine as long as you're not alone. Then again, it's nowhere near the witching hour, even if it is underground. Foreman wants to see you, Ayers. Of course this guy comes to me the first break I'm taking. For what? Can't say, but you should come along now. Alright. Give my new coworkers a halfway about my palm. Be right back, and hopefully soon. There are a bit folks in the work still to notice. It's strange to think that this tunnel we're working down is already 10 times the length it was when we started today. Stabilization beams that weren't there earlier are already finished. Beckett is sitting at the end of the tracks looking grumpy. You keeping up with the work, Ayers? Laying tracks ain't so bad. Good to hear. Unfortunately for me, the rock pick is shitting itself again, so you have to blow with the bedrock the old-fashioned way. Oh. Oh no. I want to see if you're capable of handling a controlled blast. Blizzard takes a pick out of his pocket and glanced at it at an angle at knees high in the bedrock in front of it. Placed an angle in front of us. Pick up my sledge, Ayers. I do. Not the heaviest thing for hell, but it sure feels like it's trying to drag me down the earth with its weight, like nothing I've ever touched before. Sir, are you sure you should be the one holding the pick? I don't see why not. Everybody has to at some point. I've done it before and I'll do it again. He's a novice, though. It could really mess up your hand. Geez, you've been off all day. Sir? Why do you think I'm asking them to hold the sledge right now and not you? If he's gonna work, he needs to learn how to do this. I'm sorry, sir. You're right, sir. He looks at me. Put one foot in front of the other and bend your knees. Then stare at the tip of the pick. Follows instructions best I can. Very good. Now lift the hammer. It's so fucking heavy. Easy as she goes, as easy as she goes. Eyes are starting to sweat as I look at his scaled hands. Now I keep my eyes on the tip of the pick like he says. Now swing. I hesitate. Swing! I bring it down here, the crunch. Beckett rises from the floor. Perfect hit. Now you just tap it in, gentle-like. I beat into the rock and Beckett nods again. That'll do it. I exhale. This rock's a big one, so another hole on the other side. God fucking damn it. I know what's coming next. I want you to hold the spike this time. I feel numb as he explains what Nick had explained to me earlier. I just don't like the idea of doing this. I don't care how skilled or used to it somebody says that they are. But I tell myself what I did last time. It's only a week. Beckett points out the area he wants to still driven, takes the hammer from me, and gives me the spike. I place my hands where it's supposed to go and wait for Beckett to get into position. Hey, Mr. Moore? Yes? Let me drive the seal this time. What? What's wrong with this guy? I don't think so, Keys. You've been off all day. I promise I'm not. Just let me show you that I can handle this. Besides, with the pig and the compressor acting up this much, I'm gonna need help anyway. Alright, fine. What? No, not fine. Did I say something? But I think I'm just being paranoid about this man who, in total fairness, I have put into a lot of inconvenient positions through no fault of my own. Still, I swallow my spit as I see this dog into position half the sledgehammer. Gives me a nod as a calm expression, but then I see every muscle in his face furrow and tighten. His brow is tightly wrinkled, his eyeballs bulge with a sudden force of white-hot anger that I can feel in my bones. Every instinct I have ever felt told me that I was in the presence of evil, and if I stayed still I would die. Just when he takes 2 steps forward, I can tell that his eyes are not in the head of the spike. They're on my forearm. So I drop the spike and take 3 steps back as the sledge makes contact with the bedrock, cracking off a good piece of it. Ben is looking at the hammer's head, almost surprised to see it didn't make contact with anything. Beckett takes it from him. What the hell was that stance? That's how I usually drive the steel in. Are you sure? The way Beckett phrased this did make it sound much like a question. That was sloppy and reckless. It's never caused any problems for me, with all due respect, sir. I don't blame Ayers for dropping the spike. But Ayers, he exhaled, that was dangerous too. An impact with a sledge like that and you can cause a cave-in, or it can bounce off the rock and bludgeon your organs. I've seen both of those things happen. He shakes his head. My gut was right about your state, Keys. I don't have time for mistakes like this. There wouldn't have been a mistake if Nate was holding the spikes, sir. I'm not interested in ifs. You're on beam duty, Ayers. You're back on rails. Right away. Start walking away as fast as I can. Something tells me that this man is looking in the back of my head, but I don't want to look behind me and meet his eyes if he is. I don't know what's wrong with this man, but I do know that I shouldn't be near him while we work. Our disarray when we got to Dimitri, Felipe, and Paul. Dimitri seems to know something is wrong and asks, but I don't address it, knowing that Ben is probably in earshot. I just want to be done with this day and work as quickly and quietly as I can. Don't have much energy or focus left by the time the last work whistle blows. Excuse me. Sorry. Jesus Christ. It's now 3:11. I remember that Nick and Yao don't want us to be seen together when we're coming from or leaving work, so I don't bother waiting for the lockers and take the lift to Dimitri. He tells me I should grab a drink at the Stag with the rest of the men, but I turn it down. Feels good to be welcomed. But it doesn't feel good to turn those people away when you have prior obligations. He introduced me to the washing stations, which is more or less one massive room with a shower. It's filthy and packed full of naked bodies washing the soot and the coal and the grime out of their fur. Water's cold and the soap is scentless. My nose wrinkles, my fur turns color from gray to white, but it still feels good to be clean again. But when I leave the mines, I'll find joy in the fact that I can find Nick and Yao on the road, walking slowly and discreetly. Congratulations on finishing your first day, Sam. And without all incidents too. I grab both their sleeves and shake my head. No, that isn't true. Feel them in everything. James's gift, Dimitri and Beckett taking a shine to me, Ben's reaction, Beckett's appreciation strained. That chain of events concerns me. It's hard to believe that Ben's ambition would push him to try something like that. But he still has not been promoted. Perhaps it was a long time coming. It was a mistake to let him part with us at lunch in the first place. It would have been a bigger mistake to ignore Beckett's instructions for where we were supposed to be. If he's already suspicious of Sam's presence due to James's gift, we wouldn't want to implicate ourselves in that. Breaking protocol would make Beckett talk to James, and that's the last thing we want. Fuck protocol! I want to protect my friend. We are not doing a good job. I like you too much to be comfortable with you yelling at me like that, Nick. Nick, it's fine. I handle it myself, okay? No! It is not okay, Sam. You should have stayed at the bunks during the day while you and I work. You're dirty, you're uncomfortable, you barely escaped an injury, and people want to harm you now? Only one person does, I think. Maybe I was having a terrible day and the emotion get the better of him. Or maybe he just genuinely is an idiot and didn't mean any harm at all. I know that I'm crazy. I know what I see and what I feel isn't always reliable, but even if it feels real in the moment. I thought Nick was gonna hurt me too. I can't tell him that. Honestly, I don't entirely know what Hendrix wants, but that's something I don't want to think about right now. One thing at a time. One person is trying to hurt you. One person trying to hurt you is one person too many. It's too late for me to suddenly quit. And besides, I still want to be down there. I made that choice myself. But there is no reason for you to be down there. He lowered his voice. Especially now that you know how to extract ore. There is a reason. I want to look out for you. Both of you. Yow knows. Badger turned his head to the tiger. Yow knows what precisely? Tiger inhales and exhales. There is some sort of aberration in the mines. Nick looked to his friend and to me with confusion, then his eyelids narrowed. An aberration. He says that word extra slow and lets it hang in the air. We both heard it. I certainly heard something, though I cannot confirm what it was. Like I told your friend, it could be an animal or it could be vapors affecting our judgment. I do not deny the possibility that it could be something else entirely. But I will put forward what I believe to be the most likely truths. I am confident I protect myself and Samuel from any natural or unnatural element in a mine. But I am not confident I can protect them from evil people. So this remains my concern. Is there any way I can address that without quitting? Don't leave this a way for us to stay together. I want to be able to see you throughout the day. We would all need to be we'd all need to consistently be on the same team color when Beckett slips us up. Couldn't we just ask him? No. Out of the question. Moore takes this job very seriously. He considers knowing his men key to managing their positions. I am certain he will investigate tonight why James sent you a crate of new tools. And I wish he'd tell me when he finds out. I do not trust Beckett, but I do not think he means us harm. However, he managed to connect the three of us are associated. A lot of powerful men will also find out. Our grouping needs to be both assured and look coincidental. So how do we do that without breaking protocol or being discovered? There isn't a way. Actually, there is. What? How? Trying. Oh. That sailor from the tent was dirty because I caught him smoking. I don't think he'd help me. I think he will. There's something that he wants. Listen. Let's return to the cabin. I will prepare a letter for you. You give it to him and have him read it, I know that he will cooperate. And I will prepare dinner for all of us. There will not be voluntary starvation in my midst. Oh boy. I fucking love this route so far, man. It's actually really good. Sure, there's been a few mistakes with like the tense in the writing, like it switches from present to past tense sometimes, and even in the same sentence, sometimes you have like present tense and past tense words in the same sentence. It's weird, but whatever. Okay, I need to piss real quick. I'll see you in a fucking second. I'm back, motherfuckers. Alright, excuse me. So I want to address something real quick. I don't know if I've addressed before, but the reason I don't do face cam is because most of the stuff I do doesn't really require it, Like, and besides, I don't want to take the attention away from the actual work itself, like the authors and all that, and I just don't feel it'd be appropriate. While Nick prepares a dinner of canned beans and cured meat, I see Yao carefully writing something on a piece of paper with an ink brush, letting it hang to dry. We can't talk much about anything as the cabin is noisy and crowded at this time of day. Workers constantly move in and out of the door for supplies or daily hygiene. Others go to fish for their dinner or hover around the stove, chatting and eating while cooking their meals. Nick is muttering quietly about finding me a lunch pail when Yao finally folds his letter and places an unsealed envelope. Should I hide this while I'm traveling? Yao shrugs. Most in this town will not be able to read it, but hiding it would not hurt. Taking out an envelope. Oh. They're all Huxian symbols. Huaxian symbol, I don't know. Aren't like X's like C sounds or something? Yeah, I can't read this either. I'll put the letter back in the envelope, pocket it, and make my way back into town. The tents that Chang lives in are a little too close to the Hip and Williams office for comfort. So I take a longer path to get to the back of the area. Sometimes I think I see a patch of tawny fur, golden eyes, but it always turns out to be something else. When I get to the tent, I take a deep breath and wander inside. The rabbit who yelled at me the first time isn't here. But the man I'm looking for is. A stack of papers are scattered on a coffee table in front of the sofa. He sits on and he notices me immediately. So it's you again. I wasn't expecting anybody tonight. Well, I wasn't planning on being here myself until last minute. Is that so? Did you change your mind about something? I'm not here to buy anything. Pity. He looks down and stacks some of the papers he's holding. There's work for me to do. I'm here because I need some help. I don't deal out favors for free. Yao sent me. Of course he sent you. There's no other reason he would be here if you weren't interested in buying. Unless you're looking to buy something else entirely. Here. Take the letter unpacked and shove into his paw. Gives me a look, plucks it from me, then opens the envelope and unfolds the paper. His eyes list across the expression, symbols his expression, moves from perplexed to angry, then to thoughtful. Then he stares at me intensely. So they put you there. On the third floor. Under more. He said the name like it was dripping with poison. Then he folded his good paw over the bandaged one. I think we can help one another after all. But I will ask a favor of you before I do. Look to his left and to his right. It's a paranoid sort of look I've seen plenty of times. My clients before who know what they want. It's the paranoid sort of look I've seen from plenty of my clients before who know what they want, but don't know how to ask for it. Is he getting at what I think he is getting at? This is a shared space, so it's not ideal for sharing secrets. You might be surprised about how quickly you can leak one everywhere anyway, when the mood is right. My mouth curls into a grin. His very serious face, but I can't deny he is handsome. And his fur looks very soft. What? Well, you mentioned wanting a favor. He digs one into his forehead and sighs. I am not asking for your body. Oh. Shane leans in close to me and lowers his voice. I want you to relay a message instead. The public library next to City Hall closes every night at 5 p.m. But it doesn't close, not really. There is a man who buys and sells information there to anybody who can find him, and anybody he considers worth his time. He takes a long drag on his pipe, and I turn my head the other way, trying not to inhale the smoke like last time. You will tell him this to make yourself worth his time. Say, your brother can never admit that he was wrong, but he still misses and cares about you. And that'll get him to help me? It's something he's wanted to hear for a long time, and you are a stranger. But he may ask for money as well. I hope not. Between shirking my hit points and just staring at mines for a pittance, I'm pretty broke. But if this means we get that gold, well, maybe it's worth spending what I have if I have to. So if that's the phrase that will help me out, what's the phrase that will help you? That's the beauty of it. They are one and the same. Language can be efficient, can't it, Mr. Reyes? Something about the way he phrased that unnerves me a bit. I suppose. Chang breathes in his pipe again and looks away. I wonder if this outcome will satisfy me. Satisfy you how? It's like I told you before. It's just to take some of the pain away. I ain't so sure pain can go away. At least not all of it. His eyelids narrow and he looks at me. You can accept that for yourself if you like. He looks away again. But please tell Yao I got the message. Okay, I will. Take the hint that it's time for me to go. Outside, I'm all over what the Sable told me, trying to decide if I should go to the library, or if I can go back to the bunks and call this a wash. On the one hand, there's probably a lot of information and useful things that I could learn from this fellow. On the other hand, Chang seems like he's planning something, and I can't for the life of me figure out what it is. I know that Yao trusts Chang to get results, but do I even trust Yao? Really? Each new link in this chain of interaction seems more and more dubious. But using Chang's phrase might be the only one I have if I keep walking this path. So it's decided then. I'm going to the library. Based. Based. Town hall at night looks a lot less welcoming. The apple tree, which is the only thing with leaves within a great many places, rattles them when the wind blows through it. The front of the library certainly looks like it's closed. Then again, so does the back. I try to open the front door too, and it's locked. When I looked again at the back door, I can see a little candle lit in a plate. When I go towards it, I turn a corner and see a door that looks like it's locked very tight with a padlock. When I tug on it, it opens without any trouble at all. Oh boy. I've never been in the town library before, mostly because I heard it was full of a lot of room material that ain't much relevant to me, mostly because I don't have a lot of time dedicated to reading thick books full of words I have to constantly keep looking up. Lamau, fucking dumbass, haha. I move past an entire section in growing summer crops to another on whatever optometry is. And then I see a man sitting by a stack of newspapers who stands up when he sees me. I'm loath to turn anybody away for their interest in reading, but I'm afraid the library is closed. Oh boy, another more. The man has a reedy sing-song voice and a very expressive smile, but if he had a slightly different tone of voice, he'd sound just like Beckett. Porter, actually. He said that somewhat stiffly. Now I know that Echo's not exactly the same size of the Windy City yet, but I find it queer indeed that somebody would know my brother's name and invoke it in my presence. Sorry? I guess it's just that you look the same, sort of sound the same. And we haven't been in friendly terms in over 5 years. It would be in your best interest to speak quickly and cleverly, or I'll be forced to turn you out and summon the sheriff. That gets my heart pumping. Or think of something quick. I need some information. Puts on a sing-song tone. That is generally why people come into a library. Is this really the right guy? I'm walking towards the phone. Wait! He picks the phone up, all the receiver gives me a look. If he really wanted me gone, it's not likely he would have paused. It was like he was giving me one last chance. Your brother Beckett is sorry. He misses you and he knows that he can never apologize. Those words just spilled messily out of my mouth. I don't know if I got them all right or said them in the way Chang wanted me to, but I'm desperate at this point. The wizard adjusts his jaw, stops mouthing with a jolt, then gives me a curious look before hanging the phone up and stalking back to his table. Well, that's certainly one hell of an introduction. Very well, let's do business then, Mr. Ayers. You know my name? There's only one albino cougar I know of in town. Yes, I know your name. If that surprises you, then you probably shouldn't be here in the first place. I didn't mean any offense. I've been patient with you, Mr. Ayers, because you came here bearing a gift to me. And whether you arrived through your own connections or guile, I do not know, but I do bet I could take a stab in the dark. But also because you've told me something for free, that means it is no longer your chip with which to barter. So whatever you ask for, it will be paid for in cash or information. Let's just start with how much you've got. 40 cents. I have little interest in change, Mr. Ayers. Don't talk that way about my grocery money. You're gonna have to pay me with what you know. I can tell about myself. You're a prostitute. You serve man. You work at the Saguaro's hip. Wow. The heel of fake yawns. If you're selling something about yourself, then it needs to be much better than that. How do you even know that? The same way I know most of the things I know. Trades. It's certainly not because of my diploma. He flicks his tongue in that way that reptiles often do when they think they've told a good joke. Plenty of people have talked about their time with you, but I doubt you could afford to know them all. But there's been a whole lot of interest in you as of late. And what exactly are they saying? Is that an answer you would like to buy? I'm curious now in an easy way, but that's not what I came here to ask. Can I ask you my question first, and you can tell me how much it costs? Absolutely. He leans in close to me, takes out a pencil and a notepad from his pocket. Well, me and... I need to be careful what I say right now. A couple of friends. A couple is two, yes. Fuck. Sometimes usually mean more than two. You sound uncertain about that. He smiles brightly at me. So my friends and I are trying to work together at all times when we're working under Beckett more. We don't want to be separated, but we don't want Beckett to know we're associated. How can I pull that off? Porter lets out a peal of laughter. Oh, really? Is that all? Yeah, it's important. That's so simple it seems almost mean to charge. Then don't. Oh, but I must. I'll tell you something that you rather already ought to know. And I'll tell you a clean solution. That can be what I'm really charging you for. So if you want your answers, tell me. Give me the name of one of your companions. Shit. Okay, right off the bat, Nick and Yao, gone. Not doing those two. Paul, Felipe, and Dimitri. Dimitri's a fucking war veteran. He could tear you apart if he found out. I don't know anything about Paul. Felipe seemed... you know what? Fuck Ben. Fuck Ben. He's someone to keep close, isn't he? That'll be sufficient. So you'll help me now? I will give you what you paid for, yes. Now, how should I put this? I suppose there's no padding it. James Hendrick III is a sodomite who thirsts after you considerably. The mine owner? Well, one of them, yes. He's tried to make time for an appointment at the Saguaro's hip on numerous occasions, but a wrench often gets thrown into his plans. Well, that's flattering. So that's why he sent me all that equipment. Suppose it makes sense. But I barely talked to him. He's loaded, though. If you wrap James around your finger, which frankly would not be hard to do, you could easily get him to give my brother the order to keep your associates from separating. But that would still bring attention to our association. I've thought of that too. Throw some men into their quest who are not associated with you whatsoever. That way there can't be a relation trace between all of you. That's intimidating. Incredible. It really isn't. But it will work. If you do what you have to do to make it work, of course. He sounds a little off-put by this. Funny, considering it was his idea, not mine. He really has no excuse. I think that's all I need. Thank you for your help, Porter. Are you sure there's nothing else you want to know? Nothing I could afford, probably. Now, I'm not sure about that. I'm willing to bet you have more secrets you could sell. I'd bet my life on that. Well, don't get fussy at me if you die. Then until next time, Mr. Ayers. Until next time. If there is a next time. Okay, I love him. I love that dude. He's really cool. I mean, any more family member I'm going to like, I think. Well, that's not true. I don't like his aunt. She sucks. When I get outside, it feels a lot later than it should feel. I should head back to the bunks. Oh boy, this screen. It's not a good idea to be out this late all by myself, but it seems like everything I learned tonight was worth it. Unless I run into the sheriff. If William sees me, I'll be ruined. Thankfully, I get back to the bunk without running into anybody or being followed. The lights are out when I get in. I climb into my bunk as quiet as I can without disturbing any cabin mates. They can hear about what I learned tomorrow. I could hear Nick snore, and I wonder if Yao is still awake. You awake, Yao? Hear the tiger exhale sharply, then pant, as if been woken up from a bad dream. It's very late. I know. Sorry I woke you up. Of course. I just wanted to say everything went extremely well. I thought it might. Zhang's most efficient at these types of problems. I probably could have done this with my help without his help if I weren't so thick. Ended up owing him a favor and everything. That disappoints me. I hoped my letter would be sufficient enough without extra conditions. What kind of favor? Nothing too meddlesome at all. I just passed on a message. I was desperate enough to sell my body, but he wasn't interested. Glad to know I'm joking, listening to laugh back. Are you in the business of such services? That wipes a smile off my face. Feel I've enough dirt in this man that he wouldn't use his knowledge against me if he did know. Could be. I suspected. I don't like the sound of that. Why's that? It's the way he looks at you. He points below the bunk. There is a lover's closeness, but there is also a distance. He guards you like fragile glass, yet looks away when others stare at you, like he knows that you wish to be stared at. Well, maybe I do. Wet my lips and swallow my spit. You must get stares, do. Unfortunate when you wish not to be seen. Why so? I think you'd be more popular the profile I had to strike and fur that you do. You might put me out of business if you did what I did. He smiled at that. White fur and red eyes can be striking, too. Wow. Wasn't really expecting to flirt back. And I wasn't sleeping. I swallow again. Oh? Oh, shit. Good. Wow, that was unexpected. Wasn't fucking expecting Santa to just be like, oh, hey, you wanna have sex, Yao? What the fuck? Hand job, that was it. They just jerked each other off. Anyway, I'm done for today. I'm done for today. It is now 3:47. Fun. That was interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you fuckers next time.